tayari kupigana na askari. Hao wakora rais ameanza kuangamiza at a very high note.
Niliwaambia wakora na wafisadi na wezi mambo yao ni matatu. Hakuna ingine ya kuongezea.
Saa hii kuna mmoja ati kwa sababu ameogopa askari wengi Kerio Valley akaenda kuua mwalimu pale Baringo. Haiwezi kuwa wakora wanajificha kuua askari, wanaua walimu, wanaua watoto, wanaua wananchi, alafu ati Kenya iko sawa.
Government is starting conflict by making leaders, record statements. For what reason? Hiyo mimi naambia serikali, you cannot get peace through this way. Na mimi naambia waziri ndugu yangu ambaye tumekaa naye sana, Mheshimiwa Gindiki, this is not how you get peace my brother.
Tusipopata amani wakati huu ambayo rais anasikia lugha tatu ya jamii ambayo inasozana, tusipopata amani wakati huu, hakuna siku nyingine tutapata amani.
Sisi wale tunapenda amani, tupewe zawadi, sio tulete ukotini.
Mambo yao ni matatu. Hakuna ingine ya kuongezea. Ama mnataka nicheze dance na hii watu? Ati tukule misa na hawa watu? Hapana.
How can a government be in power for now close to 2 years and there is no single thing you can point to?
Wewe nani? Wacha kuniharakisha.
There is no single thing you can say that the Ruto administration has done.
Wewe unaniharakisha, kwani umesikia mimi niko na haraka ya kwenda wapi?
Hawa jamaa sisi tunawaambia, for as long as we get the IEBC right, I can assure you hawa watu wanaenda nyumbani. Walete Ndindi, walete Waiguru ama walete nani, wanaenda wapi? Nyumbani.
Na nimeona macho yangu sio ati mimi si kipofu.
Hata mambo yale President Kibaki alikuwa amefanya, akatengeneza vizuri mambo ya masomo. Kila mtu wa kawaida akaweza kusomesha mtoto. Sasa inakuwa ngumu kutomeza mtoto siku hizi, kwa sababu tunaendelea kuongezewa mizigo juu ya mizigo ingine.
Si mambo ni kala. Kala wacha.
Huko Western tumesema mambo ni matatu. Ya kwanza, Zakayo ashukishe ushuru. Ya pili, Zakayo akishindwa afanye nini? Ashuke. Na Zakayo akishindwa kushuka tufanyeje? Tukate miti. Wangapi wanasema tukate miti Zakayo anguke?
Mtu anastaafu mwezi ujao na unamtoa kodi kusema aende akajenge nyumba. Hiyo ni udanganyifu wa hali ya juu.
Wale watu watapinga hiyo mradi wa affordable housing. Mambo ni mangapi?
Vile unatuletea mijadala pale kwa bunge, tunakupitishia.
Muharakishe hiyo sheria kesho. Mimi nataka kusaini next week. Hawa vijana waendelee kazini.
Viongozi wakilumbana kila wakati, tunaumiza wananchi wa kawaida.
Wabukusu wakipita huko, wa Maragoli napita pande hii. Watiriki napita huko, Waidao napita pande hiyo. Sasa hiyo ndio amuendaki bali.
Hapa kuna watu sisi tumewasupport kama jamii ya Wakamba miaka mingi, na wako na audacity ya kusimama wanasema ati Mkamba ni nini? Ati Mkamba ni nini? Hiyo madharau mtawacha.
Wakati wa kutangaza Kalonzo ni sasa. Hakuna story nyingine. Sijasema Kalonzo hawezi kuwa candidate. Mimi nimesema tumetoka mbali na Kalonzo. Kalonzo ameniunga mkono. Na mimi bila naweza kuunga yeye mkono.
Anatetemeka, 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 anatetemeka.
You should not pressurize Raila to tell you that you are the one who is going to take over. No. Just talk to people. Come even here.
Maneno ya kuona Wakamba kama ni Garcia. Tuko na nyinyi. Hawezi kusema ati Mkamba ni nini, Mkamba ni nini.
It is completely out of order for leaders within our coalition to continually blackmail Raila Amolo Odinga and the ODM party.
Sisi hatutaki kuchukuliwa na madharau na mtu. Na wacha nikwambie, sisi sasa Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, ambia Raila akuje nyuma yako.
If you force Raila to tell our people that they should elect you or they should nominate you to be their presidential candidate, without talking to them, without convincing them, they will not vote for you.
Everywhere Raila goes outside Luoland, you find people putting him in small corners and in small rooms that Raila should live for them.
Listen, support His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. And I'm telling you with no fear or favor, if you do not support him, we are not with you.
Just come out and compete. Let Raila also be in the ballot.
hii chama ya Wiper sio chama ya Ukambani peke yake. Hii ni chama ya nchi mzima.
Raila is not expired. Raila is still strong. If Oburu, his brother, is this strong, then how about Raila, just a child who was born yesterday?
You find a case is taking 3 years. For us as investigators, it took us half a day to check with Kenya National Examination Council that your certificate was fake. But by the time we prepare the file to the DPP, it goes to court. It takes years for it to get concluded.
The highest institution with forged certificate is the Ministry of Interior. More so because also it has the highest number of employees. The other institution is the Geothermal and Development Corporation. That's at Aparastato under the Ministry of Energy. And the third one, which should put a worry in all your faces, is Kenyatta National Hospital. This is a health institution. And the fourth one with the highest number of forgeries is Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. This is another health institution. Those bear the greatest responsibility in the number of forgeries.
That's how the political tone antenna has been this week, so to speak. Very feisty within Azimio, with the banding of words between some of course, the political proponents of Wiper and ODM regarding the candidacy of Kalonzo Musyoka and Right Honorable Raila Odinga. But you need to know also on the latest development, Ruto's ODM allies rewarded with newly created administrative units. If you may remember, I want just to show you that we had rebel ODM MPs disciplinary hearing, and they were wiping eggs from their faces, right? And these were the rebels, the party rebels, and now it appears that they've been rewarded by the president. He says perceived ODM rebels from Nyanza have seemingly been rewarded by President William Ruto's government in the creation of new administrative boundaries. Areas where the MPs come from were given more administrative units. Some of ODM MPs include Suban South's Karoli Omondi, Paul Abuor Rongo, Mark Nyamita from Oriri, Gideon Ochanda Bondo, Elisha Odhiambo, and Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda. In a Gazette notice dated February the 14th, the government created new sub-counties, divisions, locations, and sub-locations. The MPs are considered rebels after they were vowed to work closely with Ruto's administration to get development. Suba in Homa Bay got 2 sub-counties and a number of divisions, locations, and sub-locations. The sub-counties are Suba Central and Suba West. The divisions are Ruma, Kaksingiri East, Kaksingiri West, Gwasi South, and Gwasi North. Locations are Ruanga East, Nyamarandi, Sindo, formerly Kasingiri Central, Kwiradia, and Mwegemu. In Gem constituency, MP Odhiambo got 9 locations and 6 sub-locations. Ochanda's Bondo got 2 divisions, 2 locations, and 4 sub-locations. Abora's Rongo was given 1 division, 7 locations, and 8 sub-locations. And it goes on and on and on. Right, this is just chiming on what we're talking about, the politics of ODM, the position of the AU. Will Raila Odinga still hanging, even if it's by fingernails, on the leadership of ODM? Right now that he's actually now gagging for the position of AU, that's the probing question. Right, let's just throw it to a panelist with this particular development. Yeah.
This is where Professor Ogola needs to understand the Kenyan politics. In giving locations and sub-locations, that's what's called development. Now, if that's what's called development, here what is going to happen? To build for a chief, to build for a DO, those offices, there's going to be fundraising to be done by members of the community. The only help they'll get is government will appoint a chief. Which chief will be there to remind them every day how alcohol is not good for them and kutoka leo. So he's giving them, reading for them the Rights Act. That's what they're getting.
But see, it's coming from the confidential accounts.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
It will build the
no, there's
of
nothing.
The Ministry of Interior.
There's nothing. All these things will only be built by people fundraising and CDF. or because that's a national government offices up to that point. So when you hear that they have brought us a sub-location, they have brought us a location, and now development is closer to us, then the people are told to raise their little money to build for a chief. Which chief, when you go to them, they'll also ask you for money to resolve your land disputes or to resolve your marital disputes. And you call that development. That is how votes are won in this. So when I'm telling Professor here, because this is free advice, what we call development in this country is very different. It is what you take from the people, but you tell them that you brought government to them. And this government you brought to them gives them nothing except taking away from them. Yeah. And this is what I'm telling you. So you better think about it. Now, having said that,
this is entrenching national government.
No, you see, the thing is this,
in light of where we are in the devolution.
In my constitutional law thinking, entrenching or having too much government and having too much presence of government in people's lives does not help people to grow, does not help people to prosper, does not give them freedoms, does not allow them speech. Well, I mean, all those fundamental rights that you want of people, it's not because they have too much government, it's because they have less government that people then express themselves and so on. What we see in our situation is too much government in people's faces and people's eyes. But again, not government that is functional in the sense that it's not giving services, it's not giving, improving quality of life, it's simply maintaining law and order. That's not what you need. There is enough organization around society that we should be celebrating rather than just law and order.
Barak? Is it Barak or I've lost my sequence?
Spot on. Since we have been mentioned, spot on. Dr. Olo, too much government. The size of government in the country is humongous. The cost of government is massive. I have not seen the Gazette notice, and I do not know whether it's only these particular areas or whether these have been isolated by journalists because I want to believe that it must have been national. Yeah. And one is wondering whether this is the time to be expanding government because contrary to the belief that you are smallening by creating smaller units and bringing them closer to the people, you are actually making government even bigger, even more costly. And there's need for us to demonstrate some kind of austerity, economic austerity, in a context where we are saying that the economy is on the shoestring. You look at even devolved government, that we have got these 47 counties plus the national government, 48 very heavy centers of spending, that we should be talking in this country today about how to reach some agreement to smallen government and to smallen the cost of government. Have you seen what happens every weekend when now you have got government arriving?
No, government goes to pray. When government goes to church.
Yes, government going to church, government attending funerals, government attending whatever. It is government arriving in choppers, government arriving with a
Lexus,
a chain of vehicles. Someone like Ogola here, if he's a CS, he might arrive with a fleet of about 8. I arrive with another fleet of about 10. And they're all on the public budget, that we are seeing these things happening in 47 counties all at once. And everybody is asking for more money. The other day you saw that the public service boards are asking for more money as salary. They would like to be paid twice what they are being paid today. We cannot afford these things, and I do not agree that we need more chiefs. I'm probably coming from a different dispensation in the past, when in the whole of what is today Butere and Huisero, where I was born, we had only 2 chiefs. There was a chief in Butere and there was a chief in Huisero. And they did very good work. In terms of division, we were all under one division that was called Mumias Division. And everything worked very well. The infrastructure was more challenged than it is today in terms of road networks, in terms of telephony, in terms of electricity. So if we are developing, Professor Ogola, developing the infrastructure, making it easy for people to move from point A to point B, making it easy for the farmer to move his avocados from home to the market, the milk from the home to the market, then we need to be having less of these gatekeepers.
Indeed. Let's hear from Dr. Duncan Jones.
I think that for me, it's a good thing because unlike most of them, I lived majority of my life in the village. And you know that even a simple form for bursary, you need to look for a sub-chief signature, rubber stamp. And that is a cost. It's a matter of, are you going to walk 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers, like for us, because the interior have now divided the sub-location.
But I thought now we are on e-citizen. It's supposed to reach you as well, just at the top
touch
of
the button.
Isn't that the essence of government right now?
Yeah, but there is an aspect of those forms that must be verified by the sub-chief.
So regardless of e-citizen.
Yeah, I mean we
download from the internet, then we take it to the chief then we upload again on e-citizen.
The rural life is very different from your suburban life. The leafy suburban life. And sometimes we make those in the rural in our own image, because even if you are to move cow for dowry, you need a rubber stamp by chief that you have not stolen them. So there's a lot they are doing. In my place, the latest work they did was to make sure no child left behind. They combed every home to make sure that there is 100% transition. So I have a different view of development, that the development is not just the mortar brick or there is a mall here. Rule of law is development. We have order as part of development that complements that other part of development, that if people are not stealing your maize from the farm, that is development. So I think that for the rare time, the region and those places you are mentioning are really benefited and catching up with more location. There is government benefits that are also sent through locations. There is a little bit of coordination. If you live in the living suburban, as Olo is saying, you might not need chief. I don't know my chief in Nairobi, but in the rural, I know the chief, I know the sub-chief. They mobilize people to build the school, they help us, they arbitrate in the marriages, they help coordinate the funerals. Now, if you look at most of the international charters, they are supposed to have social workers. In the rural, the sub-chief become the social worker, they become the elders, they become the priest, they become the wise men, they become the marriage counselor and mediators. And so if there is need for them, more so in the rural, I see a place for that. And so to me, it is an okay thing. It kind of shows. Remember, this debate have been only pitched in terms of ODM rebels, which is problematic because these people also ran on their name they have multiple responsibility. Yes, I am a party member, but I represent this constituency. At some point, that responsibility is in the floor of assembly, out of the floor of assembly. I need to articulate my needs to the government. And that's what that article is saying, that because of their proximity and confidence, they are able to articulate that Nyamita is able to say this place need a little more sublocation to serve these people. And I can tell you that that is what representation is all about. This is unparalleled success for these few MPs who have decided to work for their people.
Right. Let's hear from Professor Ogola.
First of all, I would say that my uncle was a chief, and my current cousin, that is his house and my house, they're just facing each other, is a chief, that back in Jera. That notwithstanding, we also know that in the rural area, or even if you go to low income areas, these are opinion leaders. Someone can even consult the man to build a house. Where should I build it? When should I build it? That is clear.
The customary law.
Yes, yeah. Even if you are, if they are, you know, they are the highest elite people in the area, and also they have a lot of knowledge about what's happening in the area. So the contribution of the chiefs, sub-chiefs, that lower unit is something you cannot throw away as it is now. But why I disagree with my fellow scholar, Professor Juang, is that you have to see there's a high correlation between the need of a chief and poverty. The more the poverty, the more the lack of development, the more you need them. Do you know why you don't need your chief in Nairobi? Because you don't need him because there's security, there's infrastructure, everything you need is there. So now the question is, if you are head of state today, Dr. Juan, would you put more chief or will you increase development to these people? And what is development? Access to education. Why do you need a chief to have a say whether you should be able to get bursary? There should be a way on which digitization that Kenya Kwanza is talking about should take care of that. Because there are some things, for example, you want to get KRP, do you need a chief? But how comes when you want to get a bursary, you need a chief? All these things can be done by making people, because development, which I take my very clear colleague in economics called Professor Amartya Sen, defines development as freedom. Freedom to access goods of life. You can access food, you can access education, you can access healthcare. To the extent you can access that without anybody saying you are free. In India, when I was working with the Reserve Bank of India, there was these things whereby women had to go to their husbands to sign so that they can open bank account. And I was very adamant by saying that is taking freedom from women.
Wait a minute, not just in India.
Yes.
In this country, Kenya, until fairly recently,
yes,
a woman could not even open a bank account
yes,
without the permission, the written permission of the husband.
Yeah.
She could not borrow.
Yeah.
So there's that freedom, including freedom from the chief. So that we
please understand that the structures we are talking about are colonial structures.
Yeah, so that's the point. Yeah, so the point I'm trying to draw here, to the extent that you need many people to get what you want in life, it's a symptom of poverty, and it's a system of taking away freedom, and without freedom. Imagine God created all of us and gave us freedom to deny him. Like, can you imagine that God allowed you even to choose satanic ways, but he creates you and he has power to call you back. So how can we as a nation continue building structures that takes away people's freedom to succeed? I know my father was a catechist. Do you know, as a catechist, if he wanted to go and get an ID, because there was no way to register your date of birth, by having a baptismal card for the Catholic Church could be a way to take to the chief to prove your date of birth. And I said, Father, but you have a lot of power here. But this power, how are you making to ensure that everybody else can access this service? And he told me, my availability. So I'm trying to say, without disregarding their role at the moment, they are important if poverty in those areas continues to stay forever. But if we see a nation which will work, then as a head of state, the question is, where should you start? Should you start by developing these people to free them from this colonial structure, as my brother Martin calls it, or you want to continue impoverishing them? Now, if you're putting money in these structures, which are very expensive structures, how much money do you have to put on education? Because you can have someone checking who should apply for bursary, and there's no bursary to give to people because money is going to pay the person who is a bursary
or
master.
you can make bursary
I just wanted to ask before.
unnecessary.
Yes.
So in that light of what we're talking about, especially these structures, because we can actually be castigating these subdivisions and divisions, we need to look at some of the structures that are currently operative in government, and I have not seen anywhere where it is empowered by the Constitution. And I think, Barack, also you've worked on that particular council before. We could talk about the Council of Governors. Where do they draw their mandate to be a Council of Governors from the Constitution, or if there is any, forgive my deficiency, and also the secretariat that runs that particular, is it the devolution secretariat? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Where does it draw their mandate to be operative? Is it predicated anyway? It might be my own ignorance, but I've not really come across. Maybe we can begin from there.
I wanted you not to mix these two issues about the provincial or the national coordination and then the county and then these devolved structures. The point you made first, which is where is it entrenched in the Constitution? Indeed, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 had an express intention of a restructuring of the provincial administration. It says that the system of provincial administration will be restructured. Now, the clever people that we are rushed to rename and to just maintain the system and call it restructured through the National Coordination of National Government Act. That is our deficiency, and I want to talk to my good friend Dr. Juang here. And of course, I know that in our political structure, it's not in the interest of our politicians to do away with the provincial administration. Not Kenyatta one, not Moi, not Kibaki, not Uhuru, and not Ruto. Because this structure of so-called national coordination, the whole issue about Ministry of Interior, is an intrusive
I think I've lost your mic. We're trying to boost it. Let's just rectify it on it. Barack, I should come to you because we have the Intergovernmental Relations Committee that was there, that was meant actually to take up and be the transiting sort of body between the national government and the county government.
The Council of Governors is recognized by law, created by law, and recognized by law. Certainly, there's such a thing as the Council of Governors Act, which creates the council itself. And I believe that there are other instruments of law, including the Constitution, which creates a number of other entities, including the economic...
the IBEC, which is there.
Yes. But you know, you cannot have IBEC without the council. Yeah? You cannot have the shadow without the owner.
Which act is this? Sorry, that's why I'm learning myself.
Yes, the Council of Governors.
If I can get that,
the Council of Governors
that also empowers to have the Secretariat. Yes,
exists. It is a creature of the law. And of course, you have ambushed me, but I want to believe that within the
we have a constitutional lawyer. He
within
can help
the
us
Constitution,
here.
There is a provision for Parliament to create laws that are going to operationalize devolution. And one of the laws that were created was the Council of Governors Act. There is also the Intergovernmental
I know. Committee Relations
Act. I think there are about 3 to 4 different laws. And the Constitution of Kenya 2010 gave Parliament the mandate to create those laws, those acts that would make devolution functional. And one of those laws is the Council of Governors.
Right. I think
Martin
is back.
My mic is not yet back, but it's under Intergovernmental Relations Act. That's why the council is. But just I don't have my mic. Yeah. I don't have my mic.
Your mic is
Yes,
okay.
intergovernmental.
Your mic is
okay. Am I okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. Then if I'm okay, then basically what there is that the Intergovernmental Relations Act does spell out certain organs around giving effect to the devolution law as it is. Remember, the other law is the County Governments Act, which then explains how county governments are supposed to work. So the council that you're talking about is an organ of the Interrelations Government Act, which essentially works to improve how counties and how governors work together, but more so prepares the governors to work with the national government, so that in terms of the inputs into the IBEC, into the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Commission, which is chaired by the Deputy President, and the summit, which is chaired by the President, which brings together all the governors, their council and its secretariat prepares governors technically to make their inputs to those meetings. So that is an important organ for purposes of coordinating and for purposes of research and support. So that they have their various committees, for example, on health, on agriculture, on all those matters that are devolved. There are committees where one of the governors chairs and other governors are members to help them in that space to give effect to some level of coordination among them in their respective areas. So that is something that you can say is well founded in the law and supported by the Constitution in terms of how to make devolution work. Now, this conversation that I was saying ought to be distinguished and again ought to be contrasted, because the problem I have in this country is that though we have embraced a two-level government, the county government and national government, we have not gotten away from a national government that wants to go beyond the counties right into the villages, so that we have not gained from these two-level governments. And even though this constitution says that the national government and the county governments are independent, they are distinct, but they are interdependent. In other words, there are things that the county government can do on behalf of the national government. There are things that the national government can do on behalf of the county government. Even though that is the intention of the Constitution, we have not seen more of that spirit being reflected in terms of these relationships. We've seen the national government wanting to go all the way to the village, wanting to do the security issues, wanting to do everything, even beyond the counties. So where we are getting it wrong is we are duplicating resources. We are burgeoning our budgetary allocations, and that if we were to be able to actually believe in the Constitution, which creates the ability, by the way, the other thing that the Constitution creates is the ability for one level of government to delegate to the other level of government. So that if national government, for example, what happened in the case of Nairobi, delegating it to the national government, creating the National Metropolitan, Nairobi Metropolitan Authority, that is allowed in the Constitution. But also, the national government can actually delegate aspects of security, delegate aspects of development, if you like, or aspects of things that are national by the way of Constitution, including education. I don't understand why national government would want to do primary schools through the CDF, and why the counties would want to do primary schools through their county revenue. There are many ways in which we could benefit from a coordinated, kind of delegated, and a kind of a share, on account of a shared responsibility between national and county government than we are getting now. This creation of those various units down there, and of course, even within the County Government Act, there's room for those counties also to create their village level types of organs. So you have administrators, belonging to the county government. You have administrators belonging to national government, and all these people are operating in one area. So I keep asking my question. So who are these who report to the administrator of the national government, and who are these others who report to the administrator of the county government? And they're the same people. And should the national and county government be sitting together and arguing, look, why are we duplicating roles? Why are we duplicating resources? Why can't the county administrator also double up and make reports that the national government can also use? Must the national government have a presence in every village? I don't believe so. Now we are even paying village elders. As the national government, we are paying village elders. Surely, we have resources, yes, but those resources could be used in different ways that could actually generate development. So if I was to be asked, one of the things that we need to sort out in this country is what we duplicate in terms of the kind of activities we do. There are no people called county people, and there are no people called national people. All Kenyans are actually members of those two levels of government. So if you are serving them, have a mechanism that is coordinated and synergistic.
Right. Yeah, I agree with the point that we have the Council of Governors under the Intergovernmental Relations Act.
19.
Yeah, 19. And the question would be, what about the Secretariat?
It is there.
It is there. The Secretary is there.
It's
still in the law. Okay, fine. Yeah. We just want to gravitate to that issue of fake papers, because I think we've...
But I didn't comment on this, just a minute.
But I thought you were commenting even from the villager that, yeah...
No, there's a point I have. There's a point.
Yeah, you've commented,
actually,
because I just want to make a judicial use of time.
No, I'll be very brief. Please. There's something that I like what you're trying to say, but there's something you miss with governments, especially our government as it stands. They were never born to be efficient, and they don't care about efficiency. So they care about functionality. Can I run the country? And that's what more they're looking at. If you look at the interests of Kenya Kwanza with appointing the so-called ODM rivals, is just for political capital, is not for economic interest. And I think that's more political appointment than any other thing. And then lastly is about the constitution which you asked. Remember the constitution 2010, the COC 2010 did not envisage the existing side by side of the county government and the provincial administration. And remember, in the end, after the constitution was redrafted, there was this thing that the chief will rebel, and there was a concern about it. Then they were just offered how to make them survive.
Indeed. And
it was not very clear how actually they survive in the constitution. So it's a makeshift thing inside the governance structure. And for that matter, their powers, roles were not. Remember the former coalition between Marwa and Joho in Mombasa, where Marwa thought he was controlling the county.
With the regional commissioners and all that.
Yeah, so those ones were historical things, and the
constitution
did not foresee it, and it is unnecessary, but it's politically relevant.
Yeah, but we need to question. Do we need these structures which are not envisioned by the constitution? Because I remember during that tenure, it was very contentious. Why do we need regional commissioners? We have the governors. Why do we need parallel structures of
answer
security?
that question,
because of saying security is not devolved.
To answer that question, we need to understand who William Ruto is with what he has just done now. William Ruto is a very student of Moi, and Moi used provincial administration to do most of the things he wanted and get right. And I think he has just gone back to his father's script, and he's using that script, and it's working for him because it worked for Moi. Why not work for him? And you said the Kenyans are not changing. Probably that's the only thing that can confirm your assumption that Kenyans are not willing to change.
Even more consternating that we have within the Ministry of Interior.
You see, there's a challenge when we keep on reducing the problem to an individual and saying that it is William Ruto. Some of these are systemic challenges. The Constitution thought that Parliament was going to come up with the legislation about how to deal with that entity that was called provincial administration. We have had more than 10 years, and it has not been about William
Ruto.
And each time,
I think
that is the biggest challenge with the Professor Ogola, that he sees every problem as William Ruto and the solution as removal
The solution is.
I think that you are being simplistic, my brother. What I'm trying to say here.
Okay, Professor Gola.
I wanted just to, because of time, we're really pinched for time. I wanted us to discuss on a very ticklish issues, but very briefly because we are running out of time. We had the chair of the Public Service Commission raising concerns about fake certificates in the public sector, and even more consternating is the fact that we have these fake certificates within the Ministry of Interior, even hospitals right now. Let's just listen to it.
You find a case is taking 3 years. For us as investigators, it took us half a day to check with Kenya National Examination Council that your certificate was fake. But by the time we prepare the file to the DPP, it goes to court. It takes years for it to get concluded. So we want laws that agencies like PSC, given those kind of powers, that they can give a sort of a summary and is taken to court, and a ruling or judgment is given immediately. Because without that, this problem is increasing, and we need a better way of making sure that there's proper deterrence and prevention of those who may think of doing or committing the same offense.
The highest institution with forged certificate is the Ministry of Interior. But more so because also it has the highest number of employees. The other institution is the Geothermal and Development Corporation. That's at Aparastato under the Ministry of Energy. And the third one, which should put a worry in all your faces, is Kenyatta National Hospital. This is a health institution. And the fourth one with the highest number of forgeries is Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. This is another health institution. Those bear the greatest responsibility in the number of forgeries.
All right, beware, beware. This also is what Stado was putting up there in one of the publications. I think the People Daily, just a few days ago, look at that doctor is with fake papers, as you can see, excuse me. To do head surgery, do I need a panga or an axe? Daktari, how do you end up here? And this is what the Public Service Commission chair is actually telling us we should be very worried. Barak Muluka.
Yeah, this is extremely worrying because you do not know whether that person who is opening up your head actually is competent, and it's not a joke. A few years ago, I think somebody was arrested and he just disappeared. That matter.
He served this time.
Yeah,
the Mugo guy.
The Mugo guy.
There was actually a neurosurgeon who operated on a wrong head. Was it on a wrong patient?
There was a fellow in Eldoret.
And one in Tenwek who was actually doing operation.
And some people were even saying now, because of that, he should even become a member of the county assembly in Western Gishu. And they were saying that without any measure of being sarcastic. Yeah? If we are in a situation where the majority of these people are from the Ministry of Interior, we start understanding why it is difficult even to deal with the menace. Yeah, because we expect that people within that arm of government are the ones who are going to bring these miscreants to book. But if you are already telling somebody who is himself a holder of a fake certificate to go and arrest people who hold fake certificates, they are not going to do...
Or investigate.
To investigate. How is the thief going to investigate
a thief
himself and his fellow thieves? He will go and tell them, brothers and sisters, we are in trouble. The lead seems to be getting lifted upon us. But very significantly, this matter ought to be followed through. I know that we are discussing it as a footnote. The media should make a follow-up. We are hearing that even universities themselves are complicit in these matters.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Dibal,
Martin, briefly.
This is a major problem in this country. whether you are looking at it from just the case, the examinations and how we are passing people, anybody teaching in a university will tell you that when you see a B or an A, a student with a B and A, it does not translate into reality when you start teaching them and you start looking at their papers. You are seeing a situation where in Masai Mara University, you had a quack teaching. There's even somebody who was a deputy vice chancellor with fake papers. So it's a very serious problem. And we've seen guys without any papers actually doing cesarean operations on our mothers. So we are a country that is bleeding. The fake is more than real. And this is a problem we should be able to start thinking about. We should not even be, it's not even to say that it's endemic in national, it's across. Our politicians have fake papers, some of our professionals, fake papers, engineers, fake papers.
We struggle to produce and authenticate our degrees. We're running for office. Dr. Duncan Ojwang.
Yeah, it's ironical that in the era with more higher learning institution, is again the era with much more fake degrees. I think we are a country of cheats. One described as a fantastic phonies and fakes. It is very bad. I don't know why that should take 6 years in court. And it shows you how rotten the system is really. Because if somebody has a fake paper and they're still working and serving,
and even today they are reporting back to work.
And I've even noted the plethora of fake doctors, professors. People just show up and say, I'm Professor so-and-so, and the media call them as such without verifying.
Even when we tell them that this person is not a professor.
It becomes like a gossip, and it's so disheartening. Where even honorary doctorate are now being used as awards.
All right.
We are. Media is complicit because you have not helped us.
We have to end the show. I told you
that you got a PhD in 6 months.
You have not helped
us. That
us.
person has been appointed in a public office.
Right.
6 months PhD.
Professor this, professor that.
Yeah. And when you have these honoris causa, you are not supposed to go around
calling yourself doctor.
A doctor, indeed.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Professor here has 5 degrees.
Yes, they are legit.
They're legit, all of them.
But Professor, you're Professor which university?
Where are you professing?
Which
because
university?
Unlike Idi Amin, who named himself professor, it's university to profess you.
I've been a professor of a Sada Business School, even before I came to Sada.
You have to be a professor by university.
Where?
So does it mean when you step out from
in Spain,
professorial duties, then you don't call yourself a professor?
Anyway,
yeah, it means a professor.
Even for example, if
Strathmore.
Yeah. Anyway, we might not want to discuss Strathmore issues here because
indeed.
there's a lot of issues there. But the point I want to bring across here on this matter is that, first of all, there must be reasons why this is happening. Is because of competition about opportunities and for jobs, which is an issue. And then, of course, for my main concern is the impact of this thing.
Thank you.
Look at the reputational damage it has to universities and healthcare institutions, financial losses, but also reputation of a country. But it's not just Kenya. Don't say we are only Kenya. A director of PhD in MIT was found to be called a professor for long and was not even having a PhD. So these things will happen anywhere, but it's not an excuse for us to do it this way.
I need to toll my bell. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We stop for time. I'll just give each of you 1 minute. Your closing remarks. One.
I think we must arrest all quacks and dilettantes and bundle them to prison.
Dr. Martin Law, your closing remarks.
I think we must accept our reality that we are a country of facts.
You're a country of facts.
And therefore, nobody will arrest
and
the
cheats.
And cheats and phonies.
Nobody will arrest
and phonies. I want to wish our senior Raila all the best in AU, and may he get there. It's one way of correcting winner takes it all in this country. And so as we talk of expanding our cake, let's expand it to the region, because the future is in the region.
Thank you very much, Professor Ogola.
Mine again also to wish Raila Amolo Odinga all the best in this. I want to tell him not to think that someone will give him. It's not an entitlement. He has to work and do his part. And lastly, I think you had mentioned, we have to recommend a lawyer, very key lawyer here, Akiumi.
Yeah.
Akiumi report, I used it to take petition to East African Court of Justice against Sondu and Migingo Island. And his report made me to know where the problem is, which is colonial masters should give us back the map they left when they left.
Thank you.
To make us know what's happening there.
Thank you
I'm
very
sure
much.
Dr. Juang is concerned, but you can read the petition. Maybe you can help me make it much better, like Martin has been saying.
Thank you.
We need to.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate very incisive, very also insightful revelations that I've learned also this morning. Thank you. And I know many of our viewers as well. So we will really appreciate always a treat having you on Friday. They always say that in essentials, unity. In non-essentials, of course, charity as well. So we should also think, what are the essentials that we need to coalesce around, especially the issue of the AU and the politics